Hello everyone, my name's Nathan, and today I want to talk about Football Manager 2017, and more specifically what's changed since last year, and whether or not it's worth your money. Now it should be said quickly before we start that the game is currently in beta, so some things could change, but as with previous versions, it's only 2 weeks till the actual launch of the game, so I wouldn't expect too much to change from now till the release. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So, the first addition to this year's game that most people are going to notice is that when you load the game up, you'll be asked to create your own manager to use as your avatar in-game and to control the team from the sideline. Now, this was an option in last year's game too, however in Football Manager 2017, you can add a real picture of your face which can be overlaid onto your character. All you have to do is find a picture of yourself, add a few reference points, and boom, your face will be in the game. Now, you'll probably have to do a few tweaks to skin tone and hairstyle, but the final result is surprisingly good, and although it's only a little thing, I feel it adds quite a bit to the immersion of the game and the feeling that you really are the manager of that club. Next on the list of improvements is the new social feed in-game, which is effectively Football Manager Twitter. You'll see fans giving their opinions on everything from your match results to transfer rumours, and even polls on whether a player should join a club or not. This adds some real life to the world, as you suddenly see fans not just as a massive entity that needs to be pleased along with the board and the players, but instead as actual people. It's not a perfect system however, as you'll quickly begin to see the same quotes coming up over and over again. And after a short amount of time playing, I quickly found myself no longer bothering to visit the social feed, as I found it didn't really give me that much useful information. Now, I briefly mentioned transfer rumours there, and one change that I did find a lot more engaging is an addition to the transfer market, and that's player promises before entering into contract negotiations. This system effectively lets you tell a player how you're going to develop him while he's at the club, or promise him a big pay raise, or even tell him you're going to improve the training facilities. All of these can be used to convince a player that your club is the right next step for his career, and I feel this represents a far more realistic depiction of how transfers actually work. Now, these promises won't be needed in every negotiation, and sometimes you'll just go straight from a bid being accepted to contract talks. Instead, the promise system kicks in when a player is unsure about joining your club, maybe because he has several other clubs bidding for him, or your club has a low reputation. For my money, this is the best new thing in Football Manager 2017 and adds a lot of realism to transfer talks. In addition to that system, there's also been a lot of new options added to loan deals, most of which are designed to allow more loan deals to turn into permanent transfers. And although I like the greater amount of choice, there is currently an issue where not all of the information fits on screen, and you often have to full screen the offer rather than just deal with it in your standard newsfeed, and I feel that could be trimmed down a bit by allowing certain aspects of the deal to be removed. The final transfer addition that I want to talk about, which I think is just incredible, is the ability for your scouts to come back with highlights of players they've been watching. These play in a pop-up player and allow you to see goals and assists and key moments for a player in any given game. This system adds much more immersion to the scouting system rather than just saying so-and-so had a decent game or so-and-so was injured after 5 minutes so we didn't really get a good look at him. Even in real life, if I hear that my club's going to sign a player, I'll go to YouTube and watch a compilation of his best bits. I won't just hear it from someone and accept that their opinion is right, I want to have a look for myself. Next up we have the changes to staff, who will now take a much more active role in the running of your club, offering you more information on players, and they'll even come to you when they feel a youth player deserves a chance in the first team. And I've got to say, I've given debuts to players that wouldn't have got a look in before because of this system. Another example of staff helping you out much more than they used to is new fitness reports from your physios, saying how long they think a player should be allowed to play in any given game. This offers much more context rather than just the player is injured or the player is fit. There is now a grey area, and maybe they could survive a half of football, but no more than that. Alongside the more active staff, FM 2017 also has new staff roles in the form of data analysts and sports scientists, which go along with changes in the real world of football. Now, I personally like to have complete control over everything that happens in my club when I play Football Manager, and I often find myself ignoring staff recommendations, so these changes haven't been overly important to me, but for other players who like to play at a faster pace and just rush through seasons, I feel these changes could be a godsend. Now, we've talked a lot about changes that are world building and in the background of the game, But what about the match experience? Well, tactics are virtually unchanged, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, given that they worked okay in previous versions. The game engine is also relatively untouched, with only small details such as pre-match presentations and a new camera angle being added. Both of these are nice touches, but they don't really add much to the game, and the new camera angle behind goal low has a bit of a clipping issue in certain stadiums. Honestly, you're going to have to look pretty hard to find graphical improvements from Football Manager 2016. I'm not saying that's a bad thing though. I mean, I played over 500 hours of FM 2016 and the graphics were perfectly adequate. Football Manager 2017 makes much more of a stride forward in analysis of games rather than in the games themselves, with key stats being highlighted such as which player made the most mistakes, which two players combined the most, and my personal favourite, the heat map, which shows how your team look to move forward with the ball. All of that information can be invaluable as you modify your tactics to take advantage of strengths and minimise weaknesses. One final thing I want to discuss is the addition of Brexit scenarios into the game. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about this one, and I've seen quite a few people say they don't like the idea, but at the end of the day, Football Manager is a simulator, and the fact that it's trying to replicate something that is currently going on in the real world and could affect football in any number of ways is a good thing in my opinion. It may make some transfers harder to push through and cause some issues for your club, but it's a problem on the horizon for real football clubs, and I'm glad that Football Manager isn't shying away from representing that in-game. So after all that, is Football Manager 2017 worth your money? Well, personally I feel that none of the changes that have been made are massive, but added together they make for a better experience than the series has ever offered before. Obviously there are some issues that I hope are only beta issues, such as fixture lists sometimes looking odd, but for any avid fans of the series, I think it's 100% worth it, because you'll notice all the little additions into the game and understand the nuances of the systems. For everyone else, I'd say that it's a great time to get into the series. Now, I'm clearly a massive fan, so maybe take what I say with a pinch of salt, but having played the game almost solidly since its beta release, I am loving FM 2017, and can give a very strong recommendation. Anyway, that's about it for today, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd be very appreciative of a like down below, let me know what you think of Football Manager 2017 in the comments, and subscribe for more like this if you haven't already. I've been Nathan, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.